Hey guys, welcome to the Political Matrix News. I'm Scott Miller, and this is my buddy and longtime partner, Greg Fink.
Good evening.
Yeah, we're the Political Matrix News, and we have nothing better to do with our lives but watch the news all day long.
I hear about it ad nauseum to where we're annoyed. Yeah, especially whenever I call you, like, hey, you hear about this? Like, I have time to hear about this. I
Sometimes I
got
do,
life
and
to worry
sometimes I
about.
don't. Sometimes I do, and
But
sometimes I don't.
it's been a pretty busy day, though. We got some really cool polling in from Rasmussen now.
Right?
Yeah, the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah?
49% approve of it. Basically, all these polls are split that Rasmussen has, just like the Congress is. It's almost all 50-50.
Yeah. I mean, it's so annoying to, I got to where I don't even watch the, like any clips and stuff that I see of actual, like elected officials and stuff like that, because, all they're going to do is just spew some fundraising talking points and
That's it.
yeah. And that's it. I mean, and, people really don't appreciate how much of the news they watch on a daily basis isn't even news. It's just fundraising talking points. And
people don't even realize how much of the stuff that's in these bills is not even really actually in these bills anymore. I mean, really, we're both Republicans, okay? So, hey, it's great that it got passed. Hoorah, hurrah. But the reality is that the majority of that stuff is not going to be implemented by the states and everything else and all the different states. Once you get it all carved out 50 different ways from Sunday, and then each state handling each part of it their own way. It's big and beautiful on paper for the Republicans, but it's going to be messy as watching sausage being made once it actually comes down to implementation after one court chips it out or another court chips it out or this doesn't work or this doesn't work or whatever. Guys, we are a long ways away.
Yeah, the day after President Trump signs this thing, there's going to be a legal challenge. They're drafting the legal challenges right now.
Oh, yeah. It's like I was asking people, how are they going to pay for this old $1,000 trust fund here for every single child born in America? It's S&P endowment trust fund, which is, hey, it's a great, wonderful idea. It's $1,000 for each kid. But there's a lot of kids, and that's a lot of money. And how's it going to be handled in each state? And how's it going to be recorded? How's it going to be tracked? No idea. I'm sure it's written in the bill, but it's going to be implemented totally differently in every state.
Well, the thing that has kept me chuckling all week is one of the dominant talking points on Twitter or X, sorry, has been. Let me see if I can find that sucker. Oh, here it is. And this post of mine has 30,000 views, and and graphic is one that I've seen all over Twitter. Every liberal on Twitter is throwing this up, and it says, "What if blue states kept their tax dollars instead of sending them to Washington?" And they say that the donor states pay more in taxes than they receive back in federal funding, is what they're saying.
Oh my God.
And my response to that is was simply, the suggestion that the states would withhold their tax payments is hilarious, because failure to remit is a federal crime under 26 USC 72022, and those penalties can be implemented against you even if you are the elected official of a state.
Right.
Because if you're the person that is directing people to not remit federal taxes, then you're the person they're coming to arrest. And you don't think the FBI will walk right in there and
we have so many people who do not understand public policy or public laws or how the law works or how policy works or any of it really.
No, because the response to my post was people saying, well, what if the red states, started keeping all their like food and vegetables that they produce over there? And I'm like, well, you can't do that either, because the Constitution says that you can't like ban shipments to one state and not the other. So
Wow.
full faith and credit. It's just not with the states cannot refuse to do business with another state.
No, they
That's a
can't.
foundational member of or foundational thing about
The Constitution.
foundational premise of the Constitution. It
Yeah.
just is.
It just doesn't make any sense how people are so naive on this whole situation.
They're just desperate for damaging talking points, basically.
Yeah, because and believe me, people are making a killing off this on fundraising on this bill on the Republican side and the Democrat side. It's and and I hate to be a pessimist here, but I'm a realist here, knowing that most of these bills get hatcheted up by the time they ever get to the streets, and it's gonna be one big ugly bill by the time it finally gets down the chopping block and everything. And I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how it actually does turn out. I mean, the tax breaks being in place is good. That's great.
The House and the Senate are done with it. So the question is just how is the judiciary going to butcher it?
Exactly. I mean, how much? I mean, the whole Medicaid issue. I think people are not doing any kind of simple math on Medicaid. The Medicaid cuts they're talking about are the illegals that are using it on Medi-Cal in California and New York and so on and so forth throughout America. We have so many illegals that are on Medicaid. Once they're taken off, that's once they're going to be removed.
You got to I mean, there are a certain amount of them that are improperly on there, but in addition to that, there's also a lot of them that the states will set up their own little like Medi-Cal or something like that, or their own program that they'll divert funds that had been going to Medi-Cal and put them back in their Medicaid program, and then take them and then use the money for the Medicaid and put it in the federal money in a Medi-Cal, so that it's not actually going to the illegals. The state program is going to illegal, but the only reason that they have money to do the state program is because they're diverting federal dollars.
Exactly. I mean, but I do think,
and this bill fixes that.
But one thing is that bill does do though is that, I mean, this does make it a little bit harder for people to prove they're disabled or prove they're in need of Medicaid. I mean, because I think somebody told me you actually have to go to the office to prove everything now instead of doing it online. You can't sign up for it online. Actually, and elderly people who don't have vehicles, it's going to be tough. I have 2 children with autism or nonverbal autistic who have no transportation whatsoever. It'll be tough for them. But I mean,
Right, but you see, the thing is that you said the most important word. Somebody told me.
Right, exactly.
Well, somebody told me a lot of things that turned out to not be true. So we really got to, unfortunately, because of the Democrats, once again, we got a bill that involves health care that we got to wait till it's implemented and we know what's in it, because
exactly.
You can't trust a single word that any of them say.
Yeah, because I have read the bill and it is actually a little bit interesting on how it reads. And so, I mean, a lot of it really has to do with we're going to see how it all turns out, how it's implemented. And like you just said. So,
well, the fact of the matter is, all the things that you're talking about are not statutes. Those are part of the implementation rules found in the Code of Federal Regulations.
You're right.
So how is it implemented? Don't know. Although I will say the good news is that because it's in the Code of Federal Regulations and it's the actual agencies that write the rules, then the president's going to have a lot of sway in fixing things.
Right. And also, I think the whole idea here is that, proving that fraud is not existing in the way and the mannerism in which they're doing it, I think it's going to be a stronger safeguard where the abuse level is going to drop quite a bit.
Well, they try to put a lot of stuff in these things so that they can cheat the system. And because they have it codified in statute, there's nothing that they can do in the administration to fix things that are codified in statute. And it's a common way that they cheat us, is by making it such an arduous thing to make the change that you can't do it. And then the other side of it, other side of the coin, is to give the departments enough latitude so that they can implement things that Congress never intended to. The most notorious people about doing that is the ATF. Although you'd be hard pressed to find a federal department that hasn't grossly exceeded its authority. Actually, most of these guys, there are 80,000 crimes that are defined in the Code of Federal Regulations. not in statute. So basically, let this register. The administrative department basically, granted within the framework, well, in some cases within the framework of the statutes that were written for them, wrote their own rules that have the force of, in some cases, felony laws or felony violations. So, that no one ever voted for the person that made the rule.
So there's no statute saying that's a crime?
No, you just got to wait till the court comes along and says, "Oh no, we can't do that," and they'll overrule the rule. But
Right.
then, but you got it to do. You got to get them in there, and then it is a arduous thing to change those things. You think it's hard to get something changed, an act of Congress?
Yeah.
Try getting an agency ruling.
Well, I guess it kind of takes the whole idea of the rule of law into the statute of law, and basically saying the statute of the law, the rule of law are not identical.
Well, that's a different kind of rule. A regulation versus a statute.
Right. Okay. It's gonna be interesting to see how this whole thing pans out. I mean, it's been a week, almost a week here since it's passed, and the world has not come apart yet.
Well, the world was supposed to come apart when Trump won the election. That didn't happen. Oh, did you see? By the way, that they're starting to investigate Comey and that whole crew?
Yes, they are. And as far as the CIA director goes as well, and FBI director Comey, and who's the CIA guy?
Brennan was the
Brennan. Yeah. And so I guess they are both.
He was either the CIA director or the DNI.
He's CIA director, yeah. Yeah.
But the DNI is under investigation too. So
hey, I mean, whenever you start falsifying data here to just go after political people, and you're using all this government resources to basically target people with false crimes. I mean, people don't realize this is actually a felony to create a conspiracy, to conspire to commit a crime. I mean, and these are felonies that these guys are doing.
Right. Well, so Trump, when Trump was running, you remember when this whole this Steele dossier thing started coming out?
Russia.
Well, in order for that dossier to come out, President Obama interfered to get to make all these things like normal. The CIA has a process by which they evaluate intelligence, and they go through and they debate things in amongst themselves and have a long-standing set of procedures. The problem is it takes a little while to get through.
Yeah.
And what Obama did was override a lot of their error checking. And Brennan helped him do it. And they made it so that they could get this thing out in time for the election. If they hadn't got it out in time, it wouldn't have even made the election. If they had to go through the normal process of vetting, it would have never been available for the election. They couldn't have that.
Everything with the FISA court and all the abuses of the FISA court, and them lying to the FISA courts and everything else about the whole Russia hoax. I mean, we're only talking about here, a little bit of social media on Facebook is the only thing that the Russians even did. I mean, the amount of stuff that they even attempted to do. I mean, in all reality, I think the Chinese probably had a lot more to do with the election on the Democrat side in 2020 than the Russians ever had anything to do with in 2016. And the whole fact that we're not investigating the Chinese to the same level and the Biden administration to the same level. And hopefully we are going to be doing that now. It's just outrageous. I still want
to get a list of the people who did not vote in 2024 that did vote in 2020.
Right.
Because I want to see, do an analysis of those guys. I mean, we'll see what that looks like in Florida.
In Florida is a huge difference. I mean, we saw the surge, everything else in 2020 compared to the surge here in 2024 and 2022, both. And I mean, it was weird how all these voters here just popped out of nowhere. Then they all went away again. That's the reason why our group, Florida True, that's what we're going to be investigating here a lot. We have been a little bit delayed because of some personal issues here, but we're getting that cranked up there again here next week as far as really being a full watchdog on Florida elections as well as the other elections throughout the Southeast or in our total region where we live at. About all the voters who just keep popping up and then they disappear. And they pop up during early voting. Then they go away 3 months after. In fact, we talked about the Alachua County, right?
Yes.
I looked
Yeah,
at
we
the
talked about
data here yesterday. Alachua County is now down 2,000 voters since election day. First of all, they have 6,000 people moving to the county in the last 4 years before the election, and out of the 6,000 people that moved in there, they had over 12,000 new voters.
So how do you have twice as many new voters as you have new residents?
That's almost a 200% participation rate at registering to vote. That's unbelievable,
I'm gonna call
unbelievable
I'm gonna
stats.
call BS on that.
And now they're going back down again. The numbers are going back down again to where they were a few years before the election, which is interesting because we're coming to an off-cycle election here in the next year or so. It'll be interesting to see how they surge again, or if they do. Who knows?
That'll be a good question.
We really don't know. And Alachua County is a good bellwether county in Florida. For people who don't know, it's where University of Florida is in Gainesville, Gator Country, and everything is. And so, I mean, but you also have counties like Hillsborough who went totally blue to red, and Miami-Dade that went from blue to red, and then you have other counties that went from red to blue. And so, I mean, you have a lot of flipping, flopping, and flopping and flipping, and we really don't know if it's really a partisan thing or if it's a good old boy thing, a cronyism thing. Who knows? Whatever it is, it ain't right.
I don't know. There's this person on X that I frequently run into, and her ongoing narrative is Trump stole the election. I'm like, girl, you can't just take our talking points.
No.
People don't automatically just what you think that you say it often enough, loud enough that people are going to say, oh well, I'd heard there was election theft going on. This must be what they were talking about, not the Republicans. The Republicans stole the election. It wasn't the Democrats.
Well, you're an Exelot. What do you think about the American Party? Elon wants to start. I mean, he has the funding for it. I mean, he probably has more money than the Republican Party does.
Well, the problem is it's not a money issue. It's an inertia issue. People just get so vested in their identity with these groups, with these parties. I mean, there have been a dozen, major minor parties around for
Right.
decades.
You think
It's
it
not
could
like
suck? But could it suck up the MPAs?
Yeah, well, the thing is that I mean, could they soak up the MPAs? Maybe, but the thing is those people are so kind of over it to begin with. I've,
That's
I've
true. Yeah.
seen I've seen effort after effort after effort to prop up parties. The closest thing that ever came to success was Ross Perot, and that crashed and burned. And that was never he was never going to win the election, but he certainly
He
was
did
able
influence it.
to give Bill Clinton the election.
He did. He definitely did make. He definitely was a game changer because I mean, Clinton was not going to win that without Perot in the race. No. But I mean, the whole thing here with Elon Musk here wanting to start his own party. I mean, I get it. Everybody can do whatever they want to do. That's great. That's more power to them. But I mean, I just don't see the drive for it. I mean, people always say they want a third party, but nobody says what they want a third party to be.
Exactly. And look, I got all the respect in the world for Elon, but I don't think that he really doesn't have a grasp on how difficult what he's trying to do is. But at the same time, people have told him that before, and he's won. But I don't think he's going to win this time.
Yeah, I think what this is get in your lane, and this is not the lane for him. I mean, he's a tech guy. That's great. Now, if he wants to make it a tech party and make it a really politically tech driven party, and that might be good for the good 2 or 3% of the people that might join it. That's wonderful. They'll make a lot of clickbait money, and they'll make a lot of clicks and drive a lot of inertia and everything. Basically all this digital tracking and everything else. They'll do a lot online, but I don't know how much they're going to make a difference at the ballot box.
Well, the thing is that the reason that people won't leave their party is because while they may hate, it's the most toxic relationship you can imagine. That they know that they're bad, but they're terrified to leave them because they don't know what's going to happen over here. They're terrified. If I leave the Democrat Party and go and join this America Party, then then that's just going to deplete the Democrat Party. They're never going to win, and the American Party's never going to win. The Republicans are going to win everything. And then the Republicans that might leave are going to say the exact same thing.
Right.
Everyone is so scared that they're going to weaken the party that they at least have the devil that you know.
Exactly.
The chances of them leaving for an unknown party are kind of.
That's the reason why I tell somebody if they're running in a race, if they're running a campaign and they're actually running in a district that they have to flip a lot of voters, I always tell them to raise twice as much as you regularly would in any other race. Because if it, like we had a Republican running in a very Democrat area, and basically the idea was, to raise 180 to $200,000 because it takes a lot more money to get people to vote against their behavior. And so, I mean, that's just a reality. And so, in order to get somebody to vote against their behavior, you have to basically live inside their head, rent free, in a manner to where they're going to go ahead and stick with their behavior in every other situation except for that one vote.
You have to give them a compelling reason
Exactly.
that overrides their fear.
Exactly.
Good luck.
In order to do that, it kind of takes a lot of money to do that.
Well, see, the thing is, it takes time to do that.
Both.
I mean, could Elon bring up a third party? Sure, he could, but it's going to take 10 years.
But yeah,
because people don't change their inertia that.
How old is Elon anyway?
I think he's all that old. I mean,
Does he have 10 years in him?
God, yeah. I mean, he's like 50, maybe 60, early 60s, maybe. Good question. How old is he?
Yeah, let's Google that or Chat GPT that. OpenAI actually probably knows how old Elon is. If not Google.
Well, he's 54.
54. A youngin'. Now, one poll here on Rasmussen that does have a pretty lopsided answer here is the 76% are concerned about the Israel and Iran war and a terrorism threat that it could cause here locally. I don't see a threat with that.
I don't. I mean, is there an increased terror threat? I guess there is. But honestly, I think the first time Donald Trump catches some terrorists en route, because I doubt their first attempt's going to work. And the first time Donald Trump catches them, he's just going to bomb the crap out of them, make them.
But I don't think they're going to cross the border at all like they were before. I think all the cells that are already here in America that they're talking about, I think that most of them have been isolated or identified already, and it's just more or less that's one reason why there's a lot more money in this bill here for ICE and for safety and security. I mean, people keep saying that we're going to be a police state. I'm like, no, we're going to be a safe state. It's not a police state; it's a safe state. I mean, it takes money to arrest these people and to arrest all the terrorists and arrest the criminals who are hurting our children and who are hurting our country. You can't do it for free.
And honestly, the most exhausting thing about this entire process has been watching these people say things that they know for a fact aren't even close to true.
I know. Openly lie is insulting, irritating.
Yeah, they are annoying.
It is. I mean, granted, I'm not a big, 100% Trumper or anything like that at all, but I'm also not a liar. And and if the Democrats could just, read what's on the paper and the Republicans read everything that's on the paper and come together and just work together, it'd be a wonderful, novel, great idea. But right now they're so busy on fundraising off their hate for each other. And I guess hate drives money. Because right now I think somebody is, I'm going to say somebody, but a person was telling me that a lot of fundraising is being driven in political industry more so than a lot of the nonprofits. I mean, political fundraising is just through the roof right now. Cancer, AIDS, housing, not so much. You start, putting in political issues. I mean, it's a very polarizing country on both sides.
For sure, but yeah, that's been the foundation of it forever. People think that congressmen make laws. Congressmen are just part of the fundraising team. You don't get to actually make laws until you've earned enough money and distributed enough money back in through your your party caucus, and then they'll start letting you kind of start to participate if you get into not necessarily leadership, but you gotta be like one of the like the salesman of the month or something like that to get to do a damn thing.
I was listening to Randy Fine. He's our new congressman here in Florida, in this part of Florida. he was on a radio show this week, and they're asking him what does he think about being in DC, being a new guy, just in there after a special election. And he's like, well, one thing he wishes was that people would quit talking so much and just do. He says it's very frustrating. He said everybody is talking for money, talking for money, talking for money. Nobody's doing anything to actually help their communities. And he says, I mean, he says on both sides of the aisle. He says
Absolutely.
Republicans and Democrats both where they just make long-winded speeches that they know nobody's listening to, but their fundraisers need them to make those speeches, and they have to make them
Because they take
to shake their
they
tin
take the
cup.
clip. They did the clip of them saying that, and they edited it into their next fundraising video, and it's got all of the ambiance of the House or Senate chamber, so it makes them look more prestigious. And this is,
Right.
of course, an official request.
Yeah, because I mean, you and I both know that the first job you do whenever you get to DC is you have to raise money. I mean, more
20,
than you have to be on the floor. Yeah, more than you have to be on the floor. How many hours a day?
20,
20,000 a day. That's your minimum.
that's the normal target.
That shouldn't be
Now,
too bad.
I think they give them the weekend off, but still.
That shouldn't be too bad. 20 guys to kick in $1,000. If you're a congressman, you should have 20 people
And they have a giant list anyway.
a
I mean,
day.
they've got everyone in your district and everyone in your state, and then other people around the country that, I mean, you pick,
Yeah, we got the list too.
these lists. I mean, you go find people that are amenable to the message, and you have that person, deliver the message, the person who's the best at delivering that message.
Now, I was going through some donor lists here in Florida. I was surprised that there's a lot of Democrat donors who actually get to the Republican Party, which I thought was
I'm
interesting.
not.
I mean, but also I found a lot of Republican donors who get to Democrat causes. And so, I mean, a lot of people just play both sides of the fence.
Well, yeah, as well as I do that, especially in local races, if you're not in the right party, then you are not going to, you're not going to win. Period.
Right.
So, in order to be, if you want aspire to this office, you have to kind of curate your own opinions and your statements so they fit the party narrative that's here, and then you can get in and start doing whatever. You may be a Republican, you may be a Democrat, and so in order to they may be a Republican just because that's what they got to be to do something, but their hearts with the Democrats.
It's going to be an interesting election year.
Goes right back to all politics is local.
All politics, like Tip O'Neill said, and everybody before him was actually acting like. And yeah, I mean, it's a whole different world. I mean, this is an election year coming up, and we have, you and I both live in Florida here, and we have a lot of people running right now in Florida. We have a lot of open seats all throughout the state.
People don't realize 6 months after the election, it's time to ramp up.
It is, and somebody's actually. A person was telling one of our possible clients here that it's too early to sign contracts with any kind of consulting firm. I was like, what? Your election is less than your primary is less than a year away. Absentees go out in 10 months.
So
If you ain't got
there's
to
only
figure
two
it
kind of
out.
people. Yeah, there's only two kind of people that give that kind of advice: people that don't know what they're talking about, or people that are trying to push someone else away so that they can convince you to go with them instead, or go with someone that they control instead.
Exactly. And that's one thing is that, a lot of candidates who get controlled and bullied by these consultants who don't give a damn about them whatsoever. They just care about the dollar and everything. And granted, yeah, I mean, we care about the money as well as consultants, but you also got to put your client and everything first.
The thing is, if they never win, then you don't get paid anyway. I mean, you get paid what you for that campaign, but the idea isn't to get paid for this campaign. The idea is to get paid for all the future campaigns.
Exactly. And also, and actually have a candidate who's actually worth a damn to make a difference in policy for his own community. Now, some communities are Democrat here, some are Republican, but majority of who we work with are Republicans, but we work with a few Democrats who are running against Democrats. But I mean, but overall, I mean, the whole idea here is to have good government and good people in office. And we have a lot of crooks on every side of the aisle all throughout this wonderful, wonderful state of Florida. But I'm sure, like you said before, everybody says their own area is the most corrupt. I think if you went to any other 49 states, you'd find the same kind of corruption almost in every single zip code there as well. People just want to, they want to get away with it.
Well, I mean, you know, they
Shortcuts.
the nature of being in office is one where little mistakes are made here and there, and they get covered or glossed over. I shouldn't say covered up. They get glossed over a lot, and you
Covered up
gloss
as a
over a
conspiracy.
thing. After a while, you kind of learn how to gloss over. Well, after
Right.
a while, you know, the line between glossing over and outright covering it up starts to fade immeasurably.
And usually, what do most people get in trouble for? Is it the action or the cover up?
Cover up.
Cover up always gets you the most. I mean, we had a county commissioner in Escambia County, and they're going to pop your eyes back in your head here. But we had I mean all the him trying to rectify all his bad behavior and or alleged bad behavior during the time, and it was just mesmerizing. And
Yes,
don't do this, don't do that. It wasn't just one county commissioner; it was several county commissioners in Escambia County. I mean, Escambia does have a history of having more county commissioners arrested or indicted, I think, almost any other county in Florida, except for Miami-Dade, maybe.
I don't know if by population that's true, but the thing is you know, is that they go through cycles. You know, once you get rid of a bunch of bad apples, everything's cool for a while because people are like, oh no, I don't want to be that
Exactly.
guy, and they run
Scared.
on the integrity thing, and they they go above and beyond to maintain that integrity thing, and then after they get away with a few things, you're like, well, crap, why am I working so hard? We'll just gloss over it, and then we start the whole cycle again.
It's weird.
It's just the way things are. You know,
So you're in the real estate business, right?
real estate business.
Yeah, you build apartments, everything.
I'm in
Build
the
housing.
construction business. That's not
Construction.
that's not real estate.
Zillow just has a statement. Zillow put out a release today saying that we are at a housing crisis, a shortage of houses.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Well, you know what? You know what? My only thing back of that is going to depend on how quickly we can, you know, get rid of all of the illegal aliens. Because you start getting rid of them, well,
yeah, we have more housing.
every alien you deport gives us a house.
It's kind of like beer sales are down.
Wow.
Modelo beer sales are at a low.
I don't know. I started drinking Modelo once we started having all that Bud Light problems.
But according to Zillow, I guess there's a record of 4.7 million units short.
I don't think we. Well, no. I mean, you know, there's supposed to be 20 million here that ain't supposed to be here. You get
That's
rid of a
probably
few,
30.
well, 20, 30. You know,
A lot.
a
Yeah,
lot,
so,
billions.
so
So
you get rid of all that housing there. You might not have a housing shortage anymore.
Obama deported over a million. Wasn't it like 2 million for during his presidency?
Yeah.
Well, if Trump only did as much as Obama does, he'd get rid of. He'd take care of probably, I don't know, a quarter of that housing problem right there.
Right. So I mean, I think a lot of the housing issues are going to be, affordability, and I mean, the affordable housing prices are just going through the roof. Where I don't really know if they're really affordable for majority of Americans anymore. But I think they probably need to redefine the term affordable.
Well, the nice thing is, as we're getting rid of the illegal labor force, the illegal slave force, because
Exactly.
you know, because that's all that these people have done is
Slave
create a
labor.
slave class of people that have no access to courts, no access to, you know, when they get cheated on a deal, tough cookies, buddy.
Exactly.
So as we're getting rid of them, well, you're gonna have to start paying more for guys that are here legally. You know, they keep saying, "Oh, I saw a thing today. I saw another one of these stupid allegations. The illegals are here because the white people won't work." I'm like, yeah, they will. It
Yes,
was
well,
it was not even white people. It was citizens that built this country, not immigrants. It was citizens that built this country. And you know, why did they stop showing up? Because you cut their wages in half. As the wages start going back up, we're going to start re-engaging these people, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, affordable housing is affordable again. It used to be,
exactly.
you know, back in the 60s, with a minimum wage job, you could work the summer and make enough money to put yourself into college in the fall.
Yeah, because there's not that much of a difference between the cost of living and your wages. Now it's huge.
Now it's huge. And why is it huge? Because we artificially depressed the wage rate by bringing in all these stupidly legal people.
Yeah. I mean, that's the easiest way of saying it. I mean, the whole idea here is that, I mean, everybody who's been bringing in the illegal workers has been more or less, endorsing slave trade and slave labor. And I mean, there's no way around that. I mean, they're not paying them equal salary. They're not paying them minimum wage or anything higher. They're not paying them any kind of livable wage, and they're actually doing really good work. They're doing work that, I
Oh,
mean,
ish,
okay,
ish.
they're doing better work than not being done at all.
Yeah.
And
I
so, I
mean,
mean,
you know,
not all of them are perfect, but I mean,
you gotta check behind them worse
that's
than
true.
that.
You got some shoddy workers, but you got shoddy workers and the regular people too. So, I mean,
But oh yeah, but I mean, when it's kind of this, you know, keep it on the down low kind of thing, then everyone's keeping quiet and everyone's getting all their stuff done. I mean, is the work getting done? I mean, in a way that passes inspections? Yeah. Is it the best quality?
that's a whole different story.
That is an entirely different story.
Yeah, inspections. Well, you guys are one of the honest, companies out there where a lot of I've been on cruise where the inspector came out and said, "Where's my envelope? Where's my money?"
Unfortunately, I've never been put in that situation before.
And I mean, these were Winn-Dixies. Where I was working on a construction crew with a Winn-Dixie in the southeast and Montgomery and everything, and the inspector guys were out there like, "Where's my check? Where's my cash?"
A check, cash.
And we're like, "What? What do you
eh,
mean? That's the way it works here."
That's above my pay grade, partner.
All right, well, that's not the way it works today. But I mean, yeah. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how everything here gets changed with all these new rules and regulations put into place here. So I'll find out. What do you think about the Epstein stuff? Have you been keeping up with that?
I have, and I'll tell you who I agree with. I agree with Charlie Kirk. If there was information in those Epstein files that was damaging to Trump, it would have been released.
It would have been
Why don't
released. It would have been everywhere.
Yeah, it would have been everywhere. I mean, think about, I mean, they released stories about Pete Hegseth, and just all about, things that probably should have been kind of top secret to release.
Yeah, I
And they
mean, they
released
got.
they released them simply because they were damaging to him. And Cash Patel and all these people, they have released information that's damaging to all these people over and over and over again. If they had it, they'd release it. They would edit out the people that they didn't want to that they didn't want to burn. They just focus on, see, here's Trump's name right here. Here's a picture of
Exactly.
Trump right here. They'd have done it if they had it. So why aren't they releasing it? I don't know the real reason. I think that I'm inclined to believe, from what I know about Pam Bondi, from the people that I know that know her and my brief interactions with her and such as that. I think if she had it, she'd be giving out. If she had that list she'd be giving out, I think that she was told that that list was in the material she was supposed to review, or at least expected it to be in there, and that's why she told people it was on her desk ready for review. But then you get there and you're like, oh wait,
Where's the
and
list?
honestly, I think that's probably what really fired her up the most was when she got into that stuff and the stuff and things that were definitely supposed to be there weren't there.
And people are forgetting who had possession of that list. Comey's daughter,
And that
FBI
is it. That is
director
the other side
Comey's
of it.
daughter.
James Comey's daughter has that list, and promise you, she certainly had it in her hands. Whether she has it in her possession now, she has had it in her hand at one time or another, if it exists. And if it had Donald Trump's name on
Everywhere.
it would be front page news
Yeah, she would have released it to the New York Times in a heartbeat
like that.
if Trump was all over the list. Everything else, I mean, because James Comey, I mean, is no friend of Trump. In fact, they're doing the investigation of him right now. Him and Brennan and everything. I mean, they should be investigating his daughter as well with the SDNY, the Southern District of New York. She's a prosecutor up there, and so they should be looking into that also.
For sure.
Well, hey, they do what they do. I mean, right now, I do think that we need to get a special prosecutor, though, on the 2020 election scandal with, like what we had talked about a couple of podcasts ago about China. I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of smoke there.
Well, absolutely. I mean, they're. I don't know if they're gonna if they're really gonna do, I do believe honestly that if that list had Trump's name on it, it would have been it would have been released.
Yeah.
I keep saying that, but it just would. So Pam has been very awkward when it comes to that, and I think it's just because she's been going on faith of what people were telling her, and yet it just still keeps on not
Right.
showing up and not showing up and not showing up.
I think there probably should be a special prosecutor into that case as well. I mean, not to use lawfare, but I think it's really lawfare whenever we're actually using the law to investigate cover-ups.
That's the thing. Lawfare is manipulating the law to for something because in politics the charge is usually worse than the resolution
Exactly.
winds up being, because by the time you get to a resolution, all the damage has been done. So we know a lot of people. We have a good friend who was criminally prosecuted and ultimately found vindicated, but by the time he got vindicated, it was over.
Exactly.
He had lost his speakership, Speaker of the Florida House. He had lost his seat in the Florida House and had to spend a buttload of money up front that he eventually got back, because he had to sue the state to get it back.
Right.
But that's what lawfare is. It's not telling the truth. It's damaging someone long enough to where the resolution's irrelevant. And,
Yeah,
and that's
we
what
had
lawfare is.
yeah we had the other client who remember this flash of like he faces 300 years in prison for drug charges that they end up knocking all the way down to a misdemeanor and basically 5 months probation. And actually the whole deal was that the entire story was concocted.
The entire story was concocted, but they needed him out of the way for the candidate that they did want to win.
Exactly.
See you
Yeah, that
later.
guy lost too.
That guy lost too. Exactly.
But I mean, it was. I mean, yeah, he ended up, borrowing some signs from people. I think in the middle of the night. Yeah, they weren't his signs anyway. But he's a good guy now. But he's a anyway. That being said, but yeah, it's been an interesting week.
Well, it just keeps getting more interesting. Every day in the Trump world just gets more and more interesting.
So tell us about your ex page and everything. Your Twitter page. You say you had 30,000 views on the last post.
Well, there's certain posts, that I got a ton of views on.
Where can people find you at? What's your Twitter handle?
Oh, what is my Twitter handle?
PMN Scott something.
I think it's PNN. That's more my therapy. I just go in that just to kind of roast through these people on a daily basis. PMN Scott M. Scott M. PMN Papa Mike November. Mike N. Scott M. Okay, cool.
But yeah, so yeah,
Oh, let's engage. Let's have
let's
some
keep
Twitter.
talking.
Some. Well, now we got to call them X Wars. They're not.
X War. Is there
X
like a
Wars.
movie like that or something?
I don't know. I thought that was my divorce, but whatever.
It's Star Wars.
Something like that.
Anyway, but I think that's gonna be about it here for the day.
Yeah, I think that'll wrap it up for a while. But we just keep checking in, guys, because we're we keep bringing it on. Make sure you like and subscribe, because if you don't, you're just going to lose us in the swell. All of the social media companies just randomly drop people off there for,
Exactly.
let's charitably call them operational reasons, but we all know that there's a lot of them get kicked out just because they don't like you.
Maybe we are going to be starting up our weekly polling though, in probably September. So we'll be bringing a lot more data from you guys for you guys all across the country here as we start doing some polling and of our own. We have the listener group in the Political Matrix that does a lot of surveys, and so we're going to find out what the real truth is about what people think.
Well, at least we'll have data that we can rely on instead of data
Exactly.
that someone else has manipulated before we get it. There's a lot of times we look at polls and we got to do a lot of reading of the tea leaves to make sure that we've got the right data, because otherwise people won't. You never know.
Actually pulled up a press release yesterday that we had from 2020 where we called within a half a point 16 out of the 17 elections in the primary in 2020. And people don't realize primary polling is a lot harder than general election polling because you have a smaller universe, everything, and basically primary voters can really go any direction. And we called 16 out of 17 races that year, and 2 different states. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, it's a lot easier to get the data right when you're not trying to manipulate it.
Yeah, well thought. But we'll see you guys next time.
All right, we'll see you guys.